William, I think you might be on mute.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How's everyone doing? Oh, good morning to the Blue Herons. So welcome everyone to another event on High Arts on the Edge. This morning we have Andy and Gretchen from the Blue Herons. And this is amazing in terms of technology and what we're able to do as far as communicate with one another as we are in different areas of the world. But coming together in united front here to listen to some great music, to talk about the Blue Herons work. And there's going to be a little surprise or two coming your way. And if you want to ask Andy and Gretchen some questions as we're listening to the music, feel free to put it in the chat box. And yeah, grab yourself a good drink and enjoy the next 45 minutes to an hour of conversation. So Gretchen, Andy, welcome.
Hi, thank you for having us here.
Yes.
Of course. How are you two doing?
Great.
Fine so far.
So Gretchen, you're patching in from
LA?
LA, and Andy?
Lucerne,
Switzerland. Last time I was in Switzerland was 94. So the only thing I recall is how beautiful it was. So I'm sure it still remained the same. In terms of the COVID, real quickly, how did COVID affect where you are, Andy?
Well, I think like everywhere in the world, I work at home since almost 2 years. I hope I can stay at home, work at home. Yeah, I think like everywhere.
Did you have? Are you on lockdown right now, or are things opening up?
No, now I think they say now it's over.
Okay.
Because their own. You just have to wear a mask in public transportation. Everywhere else, it is like open. No certification since Tuesday.
And
so
then
let's see what happens.
And Gretchen, what about you? How are things down in your neck of the woods?
Kind of the same. LA County is pretty strict on stuff, but things are opening up for sure. But it's the same, just open, close, masks, stuff like that.
Yeah, no. And here in the Bay Area, I think things are things are definitely opening up more and more. People are out and about and stuff like that. Okay, so let's talk a little bit before we actually play some songs. Just give us a little snippet, a little background, how the Blue Herons came about.
Should I start?
Yeah.
Because it was like already before Gretchen joined, I had the Blue Herons. When I did the Churchill Garden stuff, I did so many songs in different styles. And when I finally met Chrissy to be like a band, two people in a band, we just found out some songs doesn't really match. So it was like too far away from each other. We would like to focus more on a little more dreamy, shoegazy stuff, and also a little bit more noise. But I already record a lot of songs, which is more jungle pop thing. So I was searching someone who can sing in that band, who would fit. It was just by accident. I heard something and I just thought, whoa, yeah, that would work. So I sent a message to Gretchen and I just asked.
So Gretchen, he set that up nicely for you. Anything you want to share?
So what happened too on my end is, because this was all during COVID as well. And I got this message from Andy and he just asked if I'd be interested in doing a song, and he sent a bunch of music and it was just so like easy and natural and flowed. And so it was like, yes. And then I mean, we cranked out a song within a month of that email. So it was super cool.
And in terms of your collaboration and these songs, it seemed to flow naturally. We're going to talk more about that as we listen to these songs one by one. And of course, as we're listening to songs, Andy and Gretchen, if you want to lend any insight into the songs in the conversation in the chat box, you can do that as well. So for the people at home, if you're watching, thank you, by the way, for tuning in. And if you want to let us know where you're tuning in from, that's always great to see. What we're going to do now is we're going to listen to the Blue Herons work right now. So if you want to get up their music on Bandcamp or Spotify, whatever platform you use, that would be wonderful. And we're going to start here in a little bit. And I'm going to tell you the order of the songs. And you'll be listening to these songs on your own device at home. And then we'll be chatting in the chat box. So we're going to start with Electric, Take Them Back, Endless Rain, Go On, and In the Skies. And there might be a little encore. We'll see about that. So again, and then Andy and Gretchen, if you want, totally up to you. If you want to keep your screen on while we're listening to these songs, you can. But just make sure your button's muted. And yeah, so we're going to start off with Electric. And is there anything you want to share real quickly about Electric?
No, no. I mean, I think it's funny when we talk later about the process, how we do the songs. Then you maybe understand why I say not really. So
Okay,
we will talk about after.
awesome, great. Okay, so again, everyone, hop on Spotify, Bandcamp, the Blue Herons, and we're going to listen to our very first track, and it's Electric. And when I say hit it, you hit play at home. That's what the HI stands for, hit it. Okay, here we go. Everyone at home, ready? Hit it. Beautiful track, Electric. We're listen to Take Them Back. Take Them Back. Oh, that was so good. So good. We're going to move right into Endless Rain. Endless Rain. All right, let's transition to Go On, Go On. All righty, we're going to wrap it up with one of my favorites. I have to say so myself. This is In the Skies. Turn it up. Well, I'm done on my end. That was wonderful. Gretchen, Andy, are we done listening to your work?
Yes.
So we're back.
Yeah, so we're back, and we're here with the Blue Herons, Gretchen and Andy. And so, what was it like listening to some of those tunes? Had it been a while? What kind of feelings did that give you?
Yeah, it was really cool. I've been listening quite a bit, and so it was really nice to just get to get lost in the songs.
Yeah, and I just noticed the sound is different. Like the quality of the sound.
Sure.
I think it improves a little bit. Um, so when I listen to them all together, then I think, oh, maybe we have to redo something.
Critiquing.
As you critique your own work here, tell us a little bit about any of these songs you want to discuss. Electric or Endless Rain or In the Skies. How did these songs come about? Inspirations, the seeds, anything you want to share with our lovely audience?
Andy, do you want to talk about the process, and then I'll talk also about a specific. I've got one story.
Yeah. Well, so basically, when I do something, I really never think. So there is never what's the word, intention behind it. So I just play around till I have something, and because I can't write down some notes. Is that the right word? Notes. Musical notes. I can't read notes or something, so I have to record everything quite fast, so I can remember later, and then I just do, and it's a process like a puzzle game. I try to find a good chorus, try to make it catchy, and give space for Gretchen to sing, because before I really overload all the things, and there wasn't really space for singing. So mostly when I start, I have too much going on in the songs, and I will reduce and give space for the vocals. And when I send it to Gretchen, I never know what is coming back, because I don't say what direction I would like or what melody I hear. That's all Gretchen's work. So it's always a surprise. I don't know what are coming back.
Yeah, it's cool too. Like on the receiving end, like my process has been interesting because it's been so intuitive. It's like the songs just they come. I don't know. They just show up. It's really interesting, and it's really fun to get to play with the different melodies, and the music is always so beautiful. So it's a joy.
And it's funny that we never talk before. When we do a song, we don't talk about what direction would we like to go. It is really just two-person do separate things, and let's see what happens. It's very interesting to do.
And Gretchen, did you want to say anything else before I had another
Nope,
question?
go ahead.
So, in terms of the lyric writing, what's that process like?
It's sort of the same. So like the melody, usually I just hear a melody, and sometimes I'll just hear a phrase and I just kind of let that happen. And then the song, then I build around that. So I I just really let it intuitively happen. I don't Some songs I suppose are more intentional, but usually it's especially in this project, it's very intuitive and sort of magical, actually.
And in terms of these group of songs, were any of these songs? I mean, I know it's difficult to arrange, but although it sounded like these songs came pretty organically. Was there a particular song or two that you struggled with in finding the heartbeat, the pulse? It took a while. Or vice
Actually,
versa? Or is there a song that just happened like that?
I mean, In the Skies was like, boom. I feel like that was the easiest. Like it just happens, like on my end. Andy's end might be very different, but on my end, that one was like the easiest. And that was, I think, when it was like really clear that like this project was super special and that this was a cool connection to have, because it was just so fast and cool. And honestly, a lot of the songs have been that way. But then you start getting I get in my own head too, like, well, that was easy. Now what if I'm going to get there's going to be a writer's block of some sort. So I struggle with that sometimes, but most of these on my end came pretty organically and easy.
What would you say, Andy?
For me, most complicated was Go On, because of the very fast arpeggios. As I'm not really a good technical player, so I struggle to play that correct in time and that it sounds good. That time, I was chatting with Marty Wilson Piper from the church, as I took some guitar lesson with him, and he was a part of one earlier song of the Blue Herons. So he played guitar on one song. I was chatting with him about mixing songs, and I sent him Go On, and he just said, "But you try to be accurate, try to simplify a little bit, maybe reduce a little bit of reverb," which was a little bit hard for me because reverb is also, it's like retouching. You don't hear everything so good. But I took him serious. I think I can say that. And I just go back to zero with the mixing process. I really put everything down to zero and started again with his words in my mind, and it was very good. It was much better after that.
So after this experience with these songs, could you two recognize how you've grown as artists, whether it be in, instrumentation, lyric writing? How has this experience together helped you improve and enhance your work as artists?
I can start if you want.
Yeah.
I feel like this has pushed me this is such a different project than I've worked on before. A lot of times when I'm working on songs, I'm writing them with guitar, with keyboard, and so melody goes with whatever I'm playing. And this has been like this freeing place where I've explored my voice in ways that I haven't before, because I'm not playing a guitar at the time, or like, it's just a very different process. And so for me, it has vocally pushed me much further, and just even writing melodies in a different way. For me, it's been really cool. And I think even like some of the logistics of recording, pushing further on the recording piece, I feel like everything you do gets you further along. Like you just get better at things. So that's my end.
Thank you for that insight. Andy?
I improved my guitar playing, because before I did more like strumming, and now really, because I always wish I could play jungle pop. I just try, and now it's a comfortable place for me, because I know also if a part is maybe not that jangly or that outstanding, Gretchen will bring it to another level with vocals, because I know now how the vocals sound, the voice. It feels comfortable.
And I think it definitely translates well through the music. And I was going to ask you to describe the album covers and how they relate to these songs. I mean, I'm sure you hear, Andy, about your artwork that you do for these covers. Do these songs come first and then the artwork, or does the artwork inspire the songs?
No, the songs comes first, and then I try to find something that fits and that looks good. So if you see it when you scroll in a timeline, you see it that you think, oh, that looks nice. I click it.
Okay.
So,
tell us a little bit about how music impacts you as artists. Not your music, but just music in general. It could be a memory, childhood memory. It could be currently, whatever you want to share. How does music impact you?
would you start?
Sure. Yeah. So I feel like music is like, first of all, I think music is my love language. That's how I communicate. It's how I don't know. I listen to music. It's constant. It's medicine to me. Especially like during the early lockdowns, I used to listen to different, I mean, I still do, but a lot of different radio shows like online, and just get taken away by the music. But I'm always listening to music and inspired by different music. So I feel like it's everything in me. So yeah.
And was that something you had grown up with? Did your parents, pass down the gift of music, or is this how did that
Yes,
come up?
actually, I'm from a musical family on both sides. So music was always a big part of life. Like we always had a piano. My grandparents had a piano in their house, and that's where I went when I would go visit. I went right to the piano and just would play. I actually had lessons from my great grandma, and and I was little, and she was kind of cranky, like the classic old piano teacher. And I remember being little and my dad asking if it was my choice as to whether I wanted to continue lessons. And I remember I quit. I didn't want to do them. And I always regretted it because all of my cousins knew how to play. And so I would ask them to show me like how to play Ice Castles. I don't know if you remember that song, but like the theme from the movie Ice Castles, or just,
Oh my goodness.
yeah.
Wow.
So I could play that one, but they would teach me. And mostly what I did with the piano was I would just sit there and like make up whatever, which was probably good because I just learned that way. So yeah.
So it sounds like music has been slithering through your veins for as long as you can remember.
Yes, for
What
sure.
about you, Andy?
Well, my mom was I don't know the English word. She was selling records. So at that time when that was really a job. But it's fascinating because she really only owned a few records, and most of it I didn't like it. But there was the Beatles, there was Johnny Cash, some classical stuff, which I really loved that time. And since a child, I always, the most people here knows me just with headphones on my head, because I always listen to music because I love music. On the other side, also, I can mute everything outside and be my little world. Um, but I wasn't in music school or something, so I played a little bit when during my punk days, but that was really just strumming, drinking beer maybe was more like that. And then I stopped it because I didn't see there is a talent what I'm doing, so I stopped it. And it took me quite a while when I start playing again. And since then, I just love to do, because it's an output, like an emotional output. Because I haven't got one before, so I can't paint or something. I just need something go out with emotions, and that is really what music is for me at the moment. And it's very cool now to have so different bands, which is not so different. Like the endings, I like make it a little bit more noisy, also with the Blue Herons, but I love that there is a range from these melancholic long songs to these shorter poppy songs. I really love, because it depends on my mood. That is what I'm doing when I go to take my guitar. So maybe I'm very good mood, so it's Blue Herons time. And maybe I'm more in a melancholic mood, it's Churchill Garden time. Funny is, when I have two songs on in the same time to work on, then it's sometimes really strange to work on a 8-minute Churchill Garden melancholy song, and an hour later I start with Blue Herons, which is completely different in the mood. So it takes a little bit of effort to push yourself now. Okay, now it's different.
You touched on something where you said going out with emotions. I don't know what took me so long, but I just noticed while listening to those tracks again, you end these songs in 30, 45 seconds, maybe a minute of just pure instrumentation and just kind of that ride, that magical finishing touch of the song. Is that something you purposely set out to do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I love that. I love,
Yes.
like, in the end, it has to be big.
Yeah.
I think this is a little bit the Phil Spector inside of me. Bring everything in what you have. One layer more, do it. We never play live, so I can add so many layers as I want.
So you mentioned something about your mom and records. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So I'd like to know from the two of you, what are some albums that have inspired you or that you're listening to now that you want to share with our lovely audience today? And as you're sharing, if you wouldn't mind, after you're done talking, just putting those albums in the chat box. So Gretchen, is there anything you want to share with us?
Sure. Are these the records I'm showing you? Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I brought some with. Let's see if I can get that on.
Awesome,
Right.
Brett.
Awesome picture.
I love bread. They're one of my favorites.
So what speaks to you about them?
Well, the songwriting is excellent. I mean, these songs are so depressing. This is like the diary underneath the tree. I mean, come on. But that one is just one that I have loved for a really long time. I don't have like a specific memory, which is interesting because when you asked us to look at think about some albums, I went through our record collection because our CD collection is in storage. But I went through the record collection. It was interesting that everything reminded me of place. There was a place connected to almost all the songs. I thought it was interesting pattern, but Bread did not. Bread was just an overall life, just good old Bread. I guess it does sort of remind me of a friend of mine that I worked with at a record shop, and he said he was always talking about Bread Anthology, best album ever. It's true. It's really good. So,
is there a standout track?
I mean, Make It With You or Baby I'ma Want You. That one's my favorite. I just think that's a great song.
I'll have to check out that. Not even know them.
Oh yeah, 70s soft rock. So,
Any others?
yep, I also have. So, as I mentioned, The CDs are in storage, so I don't have a good wedding present to show. But I mean, I have wedding present, but this isn't my favorite. Although we did get the new the 24 songs we're getting each month, which is fun.
Yeah.
But wedding present, we actually so my husband is like super fan. I really like them as well. But we named our cat Gedge after David Gedge. So we had a cat for 20 years. What's that?
Does David know that?
He does, but I think he thought it was really weird because we saw them at, I think, the Magic Stick in Detroit. And I went up and I brought a picture of the cat and I was like, we named our cat after you. And he just looked at me like I was a weirdo because it's sort of weird. But we had the old band that I was in, the Icicles. I mean, we had a song called Gedge's Song that was about the cat. So the wedding present has been a big one that has been,
nice. Nice.
I love, I just love their songs. This is really good.
Sure.
If you want a favorite, it's probably like Silver Shorts or Dalliance or Kennedy.
Okay.
So many in their vault, right?
Yeah.
By the way, because of the long endings, of the big long endings, listen Kennedy. Yes. That's typical. I love that during that time. When you listen Kennedy and the ending starts and it doesn't stop. It just go on. Even more. Peter Solovka on the guitar, like make the whole thing so big. I love that. So that was a big inspiration. And obviously, I told you the name Churchill Garden is named because that was the post address of the wedding present. So it was written behind a wedding present record, right to the wedding present, Churchill Garden, something like 16 in wherever. So I love that band too.
That's a great little piece of trivia there. Any more, Gretchen?
I got one more. This one I was excited to pull out because I haven't listened to this in a while. And it's still nice. So good.
Yeah, it is.
All of these have been great.
And I loved it. So I do have story about this one too, because this again always plays. And actually Mary, who was in the comments, my friend Mary and I, when we were in college, we did a summer abroad in London. And I think it was the first night we were there, first or second night. And I right away went to the NME or whatever had the listings for shows. And we went and saw them at this small venue. It was pretty epic. And then because we were totally we had no sleep. And this was quite outside of where we were staying. And we did not know the public transit very well. And the show was past time when the tube was available or whatever. And we had to try to find a bus. And then we waited a long time and the bus never showed up. And we ended up, it was like a crazy, insane night of not getting home until the sun rose because we couldn't find our way. We couldn't figure out the transportation. It was good, but the show was excellent. So, yeah.
So is that the Homeboy single? What is that?
Yes, it is. It's a single.
Oh.
And then check this out. You can't probably read. No, I can't read it. But inside there was a thing that apparently we never did, which we should have. Free limited edition tape of 2 previously unreleased mixes, right to, and there was a P.O. box. We missed it.
Well, you can write to Pete Fidge. He might be able to
maybe
something up there. No, what a great band live, and I did get to see them in San Francisco. They're maybe 2 times they were here.
Yeah,
and just ferocious sound and just. Yeah, it was pretty special. Those are great albums. So as Andy's sharing, if you wouldn't mind putting those in the chat box, that would be awesome. All right, Andy, you're up. What are some albums you've been listening to or inspirational to you?
Well, basically, there are really a lot inspirational. So it depends, there's a lot 77 punk stuff. But so I choose more guitar stuff, guitar pop stuff. And so one is for sure Railway Children.
Oh.
It's so good.
It is.
Was 1988. And the song In the Meantime. Oh, it's just
Great.
It's like also one of the big guitar heroes for me, and also the sound of the guitar, this Rickenbacker sound. I love it. So Railroad Children.
And maybe that's your connection with Marty, right? And the way that he uses that guitar.
Yeah. So number 2 is definitely The Judge.
Oh, what does that say down there? I can't. Is that a little signature? I got it.
To Andy, because he was here for staying here when he was on tour. I was with his wife there, and so I bring out all my church records, and he signed them all.
So I know that album in particular, people just connect with it on so many different levels. Why does that album speak to you?
I think maybe because it was the first I really heard. So I think it was 82. Yeah, it's 1988.
Oh, okay.
For sure, it was because of Under the Milky Way.
Mm-hmm.
Even I think it's for sure not the best song on that album. There are a lot of not better song, but just more this typical Marty Wilson Piper style guitar songs on it, which I just love. Perfect record.
Yeah, and the drumming too. Oof.
Yeah, and and then Shoegaze arrived, and Catherine.
Oh yes, my ears are still ringing from that concert.
Oh yeah, that was. I think it was 1991. I organized concerts, just little things and very unprofessional. But for example, Stereo Lab, I did a show here. I was 20, didn't have any money basically, but just want to do it, and it was such a risk all to do these things. But then we had the chance together with a friend to do the House of Love, and they asked us if they can bring supporting bands, and we say yeah. So we didn't know who is coming, and they say the name of the band is Catherine Wheel. We didn't know, and so that was the supporting act on this night, and it just blows my mind. It really was like, okay, I think I can go home now. I saw it all. It was so good.
Is there a particular track on there that you just really love?
Well, here are many, but I love Bill and Ben. Mm-hmm. I think it's great. But Texture, I Want to Touch You, Black Metallic, all of them are like classics. And unfortunately, that time I started buying CDs, so I didn't have that on vinyl. So it's the reissue, but no, that's not the silver one, because I also have a silver vinyl. So it's just a reissue, but so good.
Yeah, no, they are. And some, obviously they get lumped in that category, right? That shoegaze. Style.
Somewhere between all the stuff, but
yeah, but there's something different. It's kind of hard to locate and pinpoint exactly what it is, but their music, definitely has that bombastic approach to it, especially in a live setting. I was thank you for sharing those. Appreciate it. And you mentioned something about the wedding present and the way that they construct and they build these songs, particularly in their endings. And one of the songs, obviously, for me that does that is their 8-minute, 9-minute epic "Take Me," where it just builds and builds and builds, and it's pretty amazing. So I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, I really love that. I have a tribute to the wedding present. I've done early Churchill Garden stuff where I just try to play that fast,
And
it works. But that time it was instrumental, and so it needs a voice, basically.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't be a song I will do with Chrissy.
Got it. So we're going to wrap this up with a little bit of fun here. I mean, this has all been great, but we're going to do it in a little trivia style. So if you're still out there, thank you for tuning in. Gretchen's going to hop back on. But we're going to bookend it with some trivia questions. And then we have a special thing we want to share with the audience at the very, very end. So what's going to happen is I'm going to ask the audience a question, and you just punch in your answer in the comment box. And Andy, you can do that as well if you like. And questions come from these music trivia cards right here. So I will give you a point value, what I think is kind of what that question's worth. So a 1-pointer would be on the easier side, 2 is medium, 3 is on the harder side. And if you get the question right, good for you. And if you want to use Siri or Google or a neighbor, someone that's living with you, help you answer these questions, go for it. Okay, we're going to start with our very first question. And this is rock, if you want to call it rock. So I'm going to give you a lyric, and I want you to tell me who sang the song and what song is it. Here we go. Here's the first trivia question. The lyric goes like this. How many roads must a man walk down before you call him a man? How many roads must a man walk down before you call him a man? What is the name of that song? And who is it by? Give you a couple seconds.
Oh, so.
Oh, well, looks like the answers are already flying in here from Andy. And of course, if you're doing it,
works.
if you're still at home, you can obviously type in your answers as well. All righty. So the answer was Bob Dylan, Blowing in the Wind. Bob Dylan, Blowing in the Wind. All right. So that's how we do our trivia question. Let's do some more. Okay. This is a 3-pointer, which means it's kind of hard, but maybe for all of you out there, it's easy. So Baz Luhrmann, the great director, who actually has a movie called Elvis coming out, and if you haven't seen the preview, check it out. He did a movie called Moulin Rouge, and it starred Ewan McGregor. And Ewan McGregor covered which Elton John song in the movie Moulin Rouge? Ewan McGregor covered which Elton John song in Moulin Rouge? That's a 3-pointer. A hard one with that one. Hard time. And the answer's out there. Let's see if they're going to come up here. Andy, is that one a stumper for you? Is that a hard one?
Yeah, I don't know the movie. Well, I heard about, but not familiar. Also, not familiar with Elton John.
The answer was Your Song. Your Song. Ewan McGregor covered that Elton John tune. Okay, question number 3. Let's go 3-pointer. The legendary Frank Zappa sang the song Valley Girl with the help of his daughter. What is her name? Frank Zappa sang the song Valley Girl with the help of his daughter. What is her name? Ooh, looks like Heather has one here. Good answer. She puts down Moon Unit Zappa. Any other answers out there? All righty. So the answer was Moon Unit Zappa. Congratulations. All right, 2 more questions. 2 more. Let's go back to lyrics. Which famous song in 1987 featured these memorable lyrics? Through the storm, we reach the shore. You give it all, but I want more. And I'm waiting for you. Which song released in 1987 featured these lyrics? Through the storm, we reach the shore. You give it all, but I want more. And I'm waiting for you. Do you know that one, Andy?
First I thought about U2, but
U2 is correct.
oh,
Nicely done. With or
is it
without
from Achtung Baby?
No,
from that record.
that one was from the Joshua Tree.
Yeah.
Achtung Baby followed that album, 91. So this was 87.
Yeah,
This was monster album that really put him on the map.
With the song with the perfect guitar solo, with or without you, with just like 2 notes, like guitar parts, just 2 notes, so good.
Yeah, and if you read up on that song, you actually learn about the infinite guitar sound that was designed specifically for that by Danielle Lenoir. It's actually pretty interesting how that came about. Okay, last question. This is a 3-pointer. This is back to movies and music. Last question, everyone. And then we're going to conclude with a special encore. All righty. The Francis Ford Coppola movie, Apocalypse Now, the Vietnam War movie, had a song by The Doors. And it was played during the opening credits of the movie. What was the name of the song by The Doors played during the opening credits of the movie Apocalypse Now? And here is Gretchen.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. Welcome back. This is a perfect ending to our event. So Andy put the end with a question mark, meaning he's not really sure, but he might be sure. End of the Night is coming in. Which song by The Doors played during the opening credits of the epic movie Apocalypse Now, based on the novel Heart of Darkness, or inspired by? The answer is The End. The End.
Also a great song.
What did you say?
It's a great song.
Yes, it is. Epic, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we're going to leave this wonderful conversation. By the way, thank you two for this Great time. Really nice talking to you about your music and doing
Thank
some
you.
music.
Thanks for
And
having us.
Oh, you're welcome. And for this encore, do you want to tell the audience how this came about and why you picked this one?
Go ahead, Andy.
Oh, okay. 1 year ago, on Christmas Day, I just had the idea that that was with the Churchill Garden, that we give out a song for followers and supporters on Bandcamp, which is basically just available with a link. It's not a public release. And I just thought it would be a cool idea to do that with the Blue Herons too. But thinking about a cover version, and I don't know how, but I just thought Disorder would be cool. But it's such it's such a different mood. So it's not really a Blue Heron song. But it works so well in the end. I think that was the only song we changed the vocals a little bit.
Mm.
Remember where I think it's so fast, the words can come so fast that it was like a little bit challenging.
Yes, it was, for sure.
So right now, what you're saying is, as soon as I post a link, people are going to have an opportunity to listen to Disorder, the cover song by Joy Division. Gretchen, anything you want to share?
No, it just was super fun to do. I mean, Joy Division's amazing and, iconic. So really cool to put a different spin on it was a really great challenge.
So if you're at home or wherever you are, I'm going to post the link right now in the comments box. And when I say hit it, you're going to be able to enjoy this wonderful rendition of this classic song. And if you haven't heard it, it's a real special treat. And if you have heard it, it's still a treat. So you're going to see the link right now. It should be coming up. So hopefully you can grab that and put it.
Works.
Does it work?
Well, on my side, yes.
Okay. And just, I don't know if you saw that Peter Hook is doing another tour, Peter Hook and the Light.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's listen to this song and then we'll say our final goodbyes. All right, everyone. You may hit it at home. I'm done on my end. And if you two ever get to play that live or just, perform live, again, it'd be interesting to see how these songs take on a different quality to them on stage. So thank you so much for this opportunity, for this lovely chit chat, and to give us further insight to who you are as artists and as you are as working together as the Blue Herons. What's coming down the line for the Blue Herons? Anything in 2022 that we can expect?
Yes, we're working on a full length for this year. So do you have more on that, Andy, or that's probably enough?
Well, we still need 2-3 songs, and then we can fill a whole record. But hopefully, it will be finished this year. Yeah, and I'm very excited to have this on vinyl too.
Yes.
Yeah. That's great. Well, and hopefully, I know lives have been uprooted, changed, altered in so many ways because of the pandemic, and the music industry is changing and all that. And I'm finding that a lot of people now are releasing their music on CDs.
Yes, that is. Yeah, I have heard that too. Yep.
So Gretchen, you might have to go back to your CD collection.
I know. Well, the funny thing about the CD collection was that, so with that Adorable album, one of the things that Zane and I, my husband and I, had a disagreement on was whether we should keep the CDs or not. And I was, no, there's all these services now, we don't need CDs. And then this one, he said, I think it's Spotify, and he looked and they weren't, and he was like, see, this is why you keep the CDs. So
yeah, there must be a revival or something.
Well, I think that vinyl thing too, just not being able to access that fast, is a big part of that as well.
Yeah,
right.
Vinyl has just a problem. It's expensive, and shipping is just freaking expensive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, and many artists have their own takes on this, but I also think it's allowed and it's kind of encouraged artists to get creative with their music in terms of releasing it and how they're going to release it. So, yeah. Well, anyways, thank you so much for this lovely event, and thank you for everyone for tuning in. Our next event is going to be on February 22nd with Alea Faye, and that's on Tuesday. And that's going to be, she's actually dropping her album on that day. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, Gretchen, Andy, pleasure. It's been great.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you for having us. And thanks for everybody for joining.
Yeah. And if you didn't catch it, you can go back and watch it. It'll be on the High Arts on the Edge page. We'll keep it there for you all. So take care, everyone, and keep listening to music. It's always a good thing. Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.